Yeah, to Nora, I was writing that you don't need to read all these 77 pages from this article concerning these Swedish companies. If you look at um, this article, then you see that only the first chapter is interesting for you. It's talking about this cultural behavior patterns and things like this. And the other part of this article is focusing on the case study. The case study is not so interesting. I mean that you need to read these 25 pages, and that's all. The second theme is that I have got a couple of emails from some of you, and the question was that if you don't have any time or any possibilities to upload your home readings again, it's not a problem yet. I will accept all the readings which will come to the end of our course. So it's not a problem if you have no time or other some kind of disturbing problems that you cannot upload. No problem again. You can do it as soon as you can. And like I said previously, I will read it continuously. So I guess that today I haven't yet read quite big part of all these your home readings. So it takes time for me as well, so it's not a problem. I have a question. If I'm looking my calendar, then I see that we will have lectures also in next week, in 28th of October. Is it correct? Do you have the same information that next time we also have meetings?
Yes, me at least I can see it.
Yeah, then we are the same information. So basically, we have meetings in next week, and after that, we had 2 weeks break, something like this. Okay. Good. Then today we will start with this article, which we haven't discussed yet. It is the article called International New Ventures, Revisiting the Influence Behind Born Global Firms. To start discussing about this article, I will start with a short summarize what we have learned or discussed previously. If you look all these methods and theories and whatever, how we call them, we can see that most of them are based on like we can say that the companies which we can call like old-fashioned or traditional companies. And most of the previous theories are talking about how the companies usually going to international. So like we saw in some previous lectures, we can say that we have this kind of method like calling behavior internalization or internalization behavior. It means that most of the theories are focused on this kind of step-by-step methods or step-by-step movings to abroad. Now, today's article are talking about these methods a little bit another side or in another view. And now we need to open this kind of born global or like startup companies behavior. So I don't know how old you are, but I guess that you are quite young people, and it means that your side or your view about the globalization today is that we have lots of startup companies, which is by naturally born to be global. If you're taking back 20, 30 years, then we don't have these kind of companies. And if somebody is in 30 years ago has talking about going global, the meanings of this um, definition was that the companies either had taking some slowly steps to like finding a new market, or some of the companies had this kind of strategy, which we can call that that in the early stage they already knew that in some day they will going global, but the the way how they global they like going international, the ways was like slowly step by step looking very carefully what kind of markets to find out. Today's companies, these startup companies, their business model is built up absolutely different ways. So the first, I have a question. How can you describe me what is today's called startup companies? How do you understood? What is the behind these meanings? How you can understood the meaning of startup company?
Basically, a company with a small amount of people, and with the main focus of like having an innovative idea, in focus of innovation.
Okay, what kind of information or what is the difference? Because every company they had some kind of innovation strategy. Every company would like to call them innovators. Not all, but most of them. What is the difference between the innovation of startup companies and the innovation of previous, like old-fashioned companies?
I don't know very well, but like I would guess maybe something related to maybe this new generation of companies, or maybe something related to internet or to the globalization. I don't know.
Yeah, basically, uh, most of the people, if you're asking what what we are meaning, if we're saying the world of startup, the connection between these kind of terms or definition is based on the internet. But if you're looking at the definition of startup companies, I guess that you will find lots of different type of definitions or terms, but all of them are focusing on the same thing, that the meaning of startup company today is taking whatever usual problem which we are staying the face of in real world, and the company they would like to or they try to solve this kind of problem in absolutely new way. So let's take for instance Uber or Estonian Bolt. So it means that they offering taxi service or transportation service, but the way how they do it is something brand new. Nobody has done it previously, so the business model is so new and so different, which is consists lots of risks. So that's why we can say that the startup company is involving the higher risk than the usual company. But if we talking about the globalizational behavior and startup companies, then we need to make some kind of correction that not all startup companies going global, or not all startup companies are involving with internationalization. You can be a startup company as well if you production something or offering services in the home country only. The main difference is again based on the way how you can solve the problem. And if we're taking, for example, the founding of the startup companies, then usually everybody knows that usual bank, they don't want to give them the money because the risks are so higher. And now we can ask why the risks are so higher. Then the answer is that the way or the business model, how they can solve this problem is so new that nobody knows what's happening. So one of the definition I found a couple of years ago was said that the startup company is the company who offering services to customer which does not exist yet, the way which nobody knows how it looks like, and the results is so risks and so unpredictable that nobody can even imagine what will happening. So in every part of this business model, we can see lots of differences, lots of risks. Some of the investors have said that to investing money to startup companies is like lottery. You will buy, I don't know, 10 or 100 lottery tickets, and only one of them could win. But if you win, you will win so huge amount of money, which cover all the previous investments, and also you can earn lots of profit as well. What is the like business model difference is that if you're taking whatever startup company, then the first look which we can see shows us that most of the services or products are usually cost very little amount of money, even they are like free of charge. So now we can like raise a question: how it's possible that some companies can offering services for thousands or millions of people and done it for free, or you can pay only a small amount of money. Let's take I don't know Endomondo app, or what the Spotify or something like this. How this business model can survive without any paying money? What do you think? Green is offering that advertising and data. Okay, data is, I understood. Advertising, okay, could be as well one solution. How you can understand that the business model based on data, what they're doing with the data? Selling them or what? Selling to other companies or what? What do you think if you're talking about collecting data? Selling mainly. Okay, this could be also one business model as well. Yeah, okay, I agree. But lots of the companies who collecting data does not sell to the others. So what else we can say? Or you can see like how the Spotify can survive offering music for free. Yeah, okay. The answer was that if you want to download a better service, you pay for Spotify. Okay, good. Yeah, because if you're using these free services, then you need to listen this advertisement or I don't know, see this kind of ad. Yeah, okay. This is also one possible way. I will show you these one like simple model how the startup company business model looks like. Let's take this kind of view that let's imagine that we have a chart in here, and we can say that here is the money, and here is the number of subscribers. Now, if you look at this kind of Spotify, Netflix, Facebook, what else? Perhaps Instagram, Endomondo, lots of these kind of companies. They usually, what they will do, they will start collecting not only data, but they will start collecting subscribers. They started from here, from the zero, and the number of subscribers are growing and growing and growing. Perhaps some of them are paying something, but mostly they are free of charge. And in one day, if the number of subscribers are more than some kind of critical amount, then the selling goes rapidly up. So why this is happening? This is happening because now I draw the other table in here. We can say that lots of, or even most of the companies, which we call startup companies, are using this kind of different packaging models. So basically we have like basic package, then we have, let's say, premium package, and then we can say that, for example, gold package. It means that this is consisting some kind of services, let's say, and it will be cost zero. Then the premium packages, this is consist the same amount of services, let's say, but they will add something extra. You will get something more than the basic package doesn't consist. And this will be cost, let's say, €5 per month or something like this. And you can imagine that the gold package consisting basic and premium, and again something extra, and this will be cost, let's say, €10 per month or more per year. At first, when the company will born, then mostly they started with the basic packages. This is like collecting the data that it would be interesting for the huge amount of the subscribers. All we are using these kind of basic services, but if the number of subscribers will arise, it means that some of the percent of them are interested in better services or more possibilities, and they are ready to pay a little bit more to get something extra. And again, the smaller part of amount of the customers, they're expecting something extra more, and then they will pay, for instance, €10 to get the gold packages. So basically it means that, let's imagine we are 10,000 users, and we can imagine that 10% of them, they expecting something extra, they will taking this premium package, and 5% of all subscribers, they're using these gold packages. And if you are not 10,000 users, but for example 10 million users, so it doesn't matter that 80 or 90% of all the users are using these kind of services for free. You have enough those like paying customers who gives you a critical amount of the money that you can rise your sales like exponential ways. And if you, let's say that here is some kind of critical point. This is this break-even point, which means that if your sales is higher than this break-even point, then you can earn the profit as well. And as much higher or bigger number your subscribers is, the higher profit you can earn. Basically, the one of these main or very usual business models looks like something like this. Have you any idea how many customers we have in Netflix? Do you have any idea how many customers we have? They have in Netflix. Perhaps, I don't know, a couple of millions, perhaps. I don't really know. But what I know is that Netflix is earning quite huge amount of money. Basically, they have approximately 15, I don't know, to 20 billions of sales, and they will earn 2 to 3 billion to profit. So, but this had happened during the last years because first 5 or 10 or whatever years, they need to build up their business. So they collecting these subscribers. Everyone can using this kind of 50 million. Okay, that's good. So it means that first, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, they collecting subscribers. Most of the users can use first month or first year savings for free, and after that, they will offering the better solution. And now, if you are able to buy and you are interested, then you can buy for this solution. And if you have millions of subscribers who started to pay some, I don't know, 10 euros per month, your sales rapidly growing up, like this chart will be showing us. This is like one of the main way how the startup business model can look like. But it's not all, because not all the startup companies are built up in these kind of models. The other possibilities or other ways how we can look like the startup companies are working is that at first they have found some kind of specific, very specific problem, which is interesting only a few, very small amount of the money of the people in some specific world countries. Let's say that we have in Estonia this kind of company like TransferWise. TransferWise. I don't know, does anybody know this kind of company? Perhaps you have heard. This is Estonia, one of Estonia's most famous startup enterprise. What is their business model? They offering this kind of money transferring or currency exchange services, and mostly it is interesting only for those people who living in different countries, or they have some kind of business communications or business partners in different countries, and especially when the countries are using their own currency. Let's say that England and Estonia. Now, if you're transferring money from England to Estonia, you need to pay some bank fee for the transferring and especially for the exchange into currency. It costs lots of money, and the TransferWise, the guys who created this company, they found that there could be some kind of other solution. Now let's imagine how much people we have in Estonia who had needs to transfer the money in every day from Estonia to, let's say, in England. Not very much. the percent of all the people is very small. But now the company had found that, okay, perhaps in Estonia we have only, I don't know, a couple of thousand people who need this kind of solution. But let's take all the world. Then we can see that the problem is concerning millions of people. So that's why the other way these startup companies are doing is that they will figure out what kind of problem is so important for some specific people that they are able to pay with this. And then if you can create the business which covers all the world, then it doesn't matter that in every country you have only small amount, a few percent of the customers who are interested for you, but the whole world consisting tens or even hundreds of the millions of people, you can sell your products whatever places in the world, and you don't need to worry that in from Estonia or England or Finland or Sweden you have only, I don't know, 10,000, perhaps 100,000 customers. Again, every customer will pay small amount of money to the company, but if you have millions of the customers all over the world, then again you can create the same system that number of the customers or number of subscribers are huge. Everybody will pay small amount of money, and one point which we can say is the critical point of the numbers of subscribers, then after that your salary goes up. So that's like, we can simply say that the startup companies are working. And now why we talking about here and today is that like I said, you are like used to think that international companies mostly are these kind of startup companies. All these other companies like McDonald's or Coca-Cola, they are like old-fashioned, and we are used to using their services, but we don't think about them like we're thinking about these startup companies. And now, if we take these terms like the article talking about this born global, then today we can say that difference between the born global companies, today's companies and the other old-fashioned companies, is that if let's take, I don't know, Coca-Cola or whatever, I don't know, McDonald's, then of course they are very multinational, very global companies. But the way how they was growing so huge, it takes tens of and hundreds of years to be as big as they are today. But today's startup companies, they can use these IT solutions, which means that if they started or the company will born, they will like the globalization is written into these companies' business models. Otherwise, they never can survive because they need to be very, very huge or cover the huge part of the population all over the world. And the meanings of the born global is today's, we can understand absolutely different, which it was, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ago. And that we can call that born global is in like terms itself basically the same like it was previously, but the way how the companies will like going global, it's it's quite huge difference in between those those uh, those times. Now I can go on going back to these articles, and I'm asking from you about these articles. What was the main idea? What you figured out if you read this paper? How you summarize this idea of the article? Did you find anything interesting or something like this, or was quite boring and nothing interesting was? What was the main idea? Okay, Hanna was reading that yeah, how the born globals affected the same variables today as the traditional companies. Okay. What else? Did you find anything interesting from here? Okay, thank you, Linda. Um, I would like to. What's happening in here? Sorry, something happening with with this whiteboard. I'd like to a little bit more open these globalization terms to understood basically the born global definition. We need to start with dividing companies in different parts. The first part of these like local or home based companies. It means that this is like companies which never had interested or never had planned to going abroad. And this article was also a little bit like involved with these meanings. They had some hypothesis that the local or the home market is somehow involved with the idea of globalization. So mostly those companies who are represented or working or offering some production and production services, why they are only represented in the home countries is at first that they offering this kind of everyday services, which is very hard to export to another countries. Let's say some kind of I don't know, barberies, small cafeterias, small I don't know, food production, things like this. It's quite hard or even impossible in traditional way to export these services to abroad. And we can see that in every country, most of the number of the companies are not international because they are not able to going abroad. The second point is that some of the companies, especially when the home country is very big and the market is huge, they don't need to go to abroad. Um, I would say that in United States, in Asia, in Russia, we have they are huge markets, and if companies had no idea or not idea, not the visions or not interest in going to abroad, then the home market is very satisfied from them. They can earn lots of money, and especially when they are in like monopolist situation, they don't need to find new markets and take additional risks. They are not risky. So we can say that this is local companies. The second level or the second step is international companies. We can understand the meaning of international companies that this is firms which are represented in some of the other countries, some of the international markets, and especially for the neighbors. Like in some previous lectures, we discussed that the first step, mostly the companies they're taking is to going to neighbors. Estonian companies going to Latvia, Mexican companies going to United States, and etc. So it means that we try to find in the first level the new markets into our neighbors because they are physically and sometimes even culturally close to us. International companies, in my definition, is this kind of companies which is represented in the few countries, additionally plus the home countries. And the third level is these global companies, which we can say that this is the multinational companies. And this is we can discuss that or we have discussed, this is like startup companies, these very old and very big multinational companies, and the like some subpart of these dividings is this, how to call it? Oh, I don't remember the name, but was franchise. Yeah, franchise. So the franchise is also sometimes international, but mostly they are global companies. Why I'm talking about franchise? Because the franchise is one of the oldest models, which consists with born global or going global idea. The main and simple idea is that you can create some universal model which is suitable to going whatever countries. It's free of the most problems like social, cultural, and political aspects. And into this franchising, we can sell these kind of services and products, which people buying whatever they located and what kind. It doesn't matter what kind of beliefs they are or behavior they have. So it means that the franchising is also one of the way how to going global, and we can create a little bit parallel meanings or parallel aspects between franchise and startups, because both of them are based on the idea that globalization is one of the main way how to grow and how to get more customers and things like this. Now, going back to these articles, yes, the main idea of this was to analyze and find some kind of correlation between companies who we can call born global and some kind of ways or basic like meanings, why they are so huge, why they going global, and what is the purpose of these activities. Critically, this article is mostly focused on the economical drivers, and there are very few other these like drivers. Shortly, the authors is stays on these socio-cultural meanings, very few only. So that's why we say that if we would like to see the bigger picture of the some kind of internalization aspects or internalization ways, we cannot only focus on the economic drivers, we need to take account lots of different aspects. But it's quite hard to draw the model which taking account all these kind of different variables like political things, economical drivers, socio-cultural aspects, and and that's why the authors not usually would like to take these kind of risks that they putting together all these kind of different variables and drivers. So this article mostly focus on the economical aspects and economical aspects and then drivers. Yeah, Hannah said that the paper includes some cultures in comparing language between. Yeah, this is like I said, very few things only. But in the future, when we're looking closely these kind of social cultural aspects, then we can see that there is lots of different like variables or aspects or meanings how we can understand what is the socio-cultural problems or risks we need to take account. If you look at these hypotheses, then the findings the authors would like to figure out was that they would took basic drivers like size of the home country market, the inaugural capital or capacity of the companies, then what else they will take account this kind competitors in the new markets, and they try to find this kind of correlation between these main like economic drivers and the possibilities and the ways how to companies going abroad. So basically, did the authors figured out either the hypothesis was from them point of view right, or their hypothesis was very wrong? What do you say? How these results was? Did they can say that yes, this hypothesis is right, all these five, or they figured out something else? What do you think? Did they confirm this hypothesis? Yeah, the significant. Yeah, most of these hypotheses was confirmed, but Hannah said that some of hypotheses were not proven right. What kind of hypotheses they don't proven? And why you think this was not correct on them? The first hypothesis was says us that if everything else is equal, the larger of size the home country market, the less likely it is that the new venture will choose to go to international market. This hypothesis was confirmed because it's very obvious that as smaller the home country market is, the bigger possibility that the companies are interested to going to abroad. This is quite simple, and it's all this kind of hypothesis going from these other or previous theories, mostly the theories of this this Swedish model, Uppsala model, and based on this behavior internetization, which shows us that the main drivers, main economical drivers of the company is looking for bigger market or bigger size of customers. The second hypothesis, everything else equal, the larger the inaugural capacity of new ventures, the more likely it will be to choose to go international at the inception. Again, it was proved because it's quite important that the like investment capital or this kind of starting capital, it's very closely connected with the possibility and visions or ideas to going to abroad. Okay, hypothesis 3 was everything else equal, larger size of established market, greater than inaugural production capacity on an international new ventures will allocate on. It says us that the companies are mostly interested to going to established market than not. It is like questioning hypothesis because sometimes it's not proven in every days, because we can see that some of the companies are interested not only the established market, because like we have seen in previously, the one theory which called life cycle model says us that when the company is starting production something new, then firstly they will sell it in the home market, and after that they will go to abroad when the home market it's like filled out, and the company, the product successing models or something like this, it's not very interested anymore in the home market. So it's not every time proven, and companies is the same activity as they're looking for established market, they're sometimes looking for growing and not so much like the modern market as well. Sometimes you don't need to close your products or close your production from this kind of ways, but if you're looking, if you can find the new markets, then usually you can go there. You don't need to change something in production, and it's very cost effective to company as well. They can collect additional sales from not established market, or how to say. Hypothesis 4, A and B, was talking about competitors, and it says that if the competition is quite higher in new market, then the capital which the company would like to invest is decreases if we're comparing this with the name of the competitors of the new markets. And the fifth hypothesis was talking about this cultural similarity or cultural distance about two different countries, and this hypothesis mostly based on this Swedish model. In summaries, we can see that the findings that some of the main economical drivers was proven in here shows us that yes, the idea why companies are interested to going abroad is usually the same. They are looking for bigger markets, the established markets, and they're afraid of the competitors, or not afraid, but they don't want to take additional risks if they figured out that the competition is quite higher. And of course, the model which the Swedish guys figured out that the internalization process is going step by step, and mainly we started with neighbors is also proven. But like I said, this model is not included very much this kind of cultural aspects. And if we would like to investigate more and figure out why really the companies I'm looking for the markets, or let's say in other words, that what they need to take account, then the political or the economical drivers is only one part of all the aspects we need to like face on. So, and that's why we need to take account and looking closely what is these kind of cultural or socio-cultural factors, what is the matter when you're choosing the export market. This is the slides I have done yesterday evening, and after today's meeting, I will upload to the Moodle as well, but we can go on this. And my idea is that today we will start a little bit discussing with these cultural factors, and after that, next week, we will focus perhaps more if we're taking these kind of these your home readings as well. But now I'm asking from you if we have discussed in previously and today as well about lots of about these cultural and socio-cultural factors. If somebody is talking about this and companies need to take account these risks, what is going on? What about what we're talking about? What is these cultural factors? Can you say in simple words how do you understood what is these factors and why we need to um, figure out what is the main risks about these aspects? Okay, Hannah said that cultural factors are about people's behavior, which determines how they react to product. Okay, but I would say critically that the people's behavior is a little bit simple, like meanings. The we need to go deeply into this behavior, and if you would like to like figure out what is the real aspect, then you need to go more deeply and more detailized. What is this behavior meaning is? How you can how do you understood that okay there is some kind of behavior or some kind of I don't know what I think about what we're talking. What is meaning of behavior? It consists something. I guess that if you international people you living in some other countries now you studied in here Estonia, you have seen the differences between people's behavior. I'm curious to asking you if you comparing your nationality and your home like home country's habits and behavior and comparing these in Estonia. Can you say what is the like the first findings? What is the main difference between your nationality and Estonians? Let's talk about people's behavior. Have you figured out something interesting you have never imagined? Customer service, Victoria says. Can you explain a little bit closely what do you mean, customer service? Yeah, sometimes I feel happy if I get smile. Where are you from, Victoria? Sweden, okay. Um, I have been in Sweden lots of different times, and um, is it like Swedish customer service level is much more better than in Estonia, or we are at the same level? What do you think? Okay, no, let's compare Stockholm and Tallinn. Is it the same or is something different? Okay, Stockholm is friendlier. Why do you think why is that? What is missing in here in Estonia? Why our people are not so friendly? We living in basically the same geographical area. Winter is dark and cold. Summer sometimes warmer. We look like very similar, but something is differently. Why is that? Okay. Um, have any other opinions or like you have figured out or seeing something differently? Usually, when you're going to abroad and if you live there or study or something, uh, ah, my question was that can you describe if you had seen how the life in Estonia looks like, what is the difference between your nationality and your home countries comparing with the Estonians? Let's take this like Hanna says that cultural factors are about people's behavior. How the people behavior is looking different in Estonia comparing your home country. My idea is that I tried to figure out if we were talking about the customer behavior. There's a lots of meanings and it consists small and lots of details. And we're talking about these cultural factors, then we need to understand what is behind this definition. That the main terms is it's how the people behave, but it consists lots of small detailed things.
Okay, so I think I have.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Yeah.
Okay, somebody has the floor before me, so let the person continue.
No, you can go. You can go. No problem.
Yeah. You can go.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, naturally Estonians are conservative and reserved, and when this comes into the customer service attitude, I think it does not allow a customer service person to probe so much into the customer to know the customer better. So,
Mhm.
and then this happens maybe by way of reflex, by the background or culture that just mind your business, don't poke too much into another person's life. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
in some other background, like in my own country, in Africa, Nigeria, and Africa, we ask for details. How are you? How are you doing? We want to know so many things that connects to you so that we can use it to provide solutions for you. So that is what I see.
Okay, good. Thank you. What else you can add to have some interesting findings more? Very, if we had the chance to meet in the classroom, then our discussion could be more interesting because right now it's very hard to discuss with you. And this is like I'm very curious and I'm very interested about discussing this because this is interesting for me as well. How the Estonians and the Estonia looks like for your point of view. So that's why I'm very interested about how you can see the difference because if you can see the difference, then you will understand that that internationalization and international like communication consisted very much different like aspects. We can say that okay, the some of the people are very open mind, like you said, they are very interested about how are you is not just a polite question, but you're really interested how your friends were living, or let's say that if you meeting some neighbors and guys, they will say hello. Perhaps they will discuss each other a couple of minutes. In different countries, the people are doing the like ties and the connections and the friendships are very different. In Estonia, we are, like I said, more conservative. Perhaps in southern countries, even in Africa, people are much more open-minded. Um, the there was very funny picture. I can find out, but I can draw you. Um, it was uh, somebody showed us in Facebook a couple of years ago, but the picture is looks like this. Let's imagine that this is the. Oh, sorry. Let's imagine that here is a bus station, one bus station, and there was written that here is bus station in Brazil, and the bus station, for instance, in Estonia. And what is the huge difference between them? That in Brazil, the people are waiting buses in here. They like staying very close to each other. Lots of people, they are gathered together. They stayed very close to each other. But if you're taking Estonian bus station, then one guy in here, the other guy in here, and the third guy in here. I don't know. Have you used public transportation in Estonia? Do you have the chance to use it? Especially buses and trains, which is driving between different cities. Not so much Tallinn inside transport, but let's say like that. If you had chance to travel with buses from one city to other in Estonia, have you get the chance? Not very much, I guess. Then, if you had chance sometimes, then you can see this kind of picture. The okay, and what have you figured out something interesting?
No, actually, like it was like the normal transport.
Oh, okay. I would say sometimes if you had chance to, let's take that you will need to get the bus or the train and travel, I don't know, from Tallinn to Tartu, let's take example. Then if the bus or the train doors will be opened and people are going inside, then first thing what the Estonian people will do is they try to find a separate place where to sit down. Uh, I have seen every time when I'm going to train that I'm doing in the same way. I'm going inside train and then I try to find a place where never nobody is sitting. It's like inside of my head that I would like to be separate, alone. I don't want to see any other neighbors. And if somebody is sitting in front of me or behind of me or I don't know, they don't have place to go, then I'm feeling very uncomfortable. I would like to be alone. This is very common way. Of course, inside of the Tallinn, you're taking a tram or trolley or whatever bus. There are lots of people. They cannot be like separated. But if you have ability to find a separate place or sitting alone, the Estonian people mostly they choosing this kind of ways. So we can show this kind of or get this kind of examples tens and tens, not only based on Estonia. We can take whatever United States comparing with I don't know Brazil or United States with Finland, whatever. The main idea is the same. There are lots of like lifestyle aspects which is very like common in specific countries, and the main idea of the cultural factor is that companies need to take account different lifestyle and culture like aspects when if they are considering to export or going to abroad. So you need to understood that in every countries, in every people have their own like habits, their own have some kind of specific way of living or understanding how the things need to look like. It is very much very close related with geographical area, with the cultural area, with the values, beliefs, norms. We can see very strange and very funny differences between even the neighbors. Um, Once I read some small survey where somebody, I don't know, this was an Estonian guy or I remember, had the chance to figure out is there some kind of difference between Estonian, Finland, and Latvian people when they will buy, let's take a simple word, potato salad. It's one of the common dishes in these countries. And the finding was that even this kind of simple food like potato salad is serving and making absolutely different between these three countries. And if we finding out that these three countries are so close together, they are neighbors, and the people who living in here are basically the same. They have same habits, same culture. Even the Estonian and Finnish people are talking similar languages, but the way how we can live our everyday life is sometimes very different. So that's we can say that the culture factor means some kind of lifestyle culture aspect based on some specific countries. So and why it's important, because some companies they are planning to go to abroad, they need to collect or information. They need to inform itself how this specific product or services would be looks like, and how they like the customers and the people are used to use these kind of services, or what their expectations, and the similarity and the differences could be consisted small things but very important things. I have hundreds of examples, and I have seen in my practical life how and why the differences are sometimes so huge. Uh, I will ask you, let's say one another example. Are you wearing jeans? Or even another question, who did not wear jeans? It looks like very strange question. Do you wearing jeans? In general, yes. Okay. Is it for you like common clothes or some specific like luxury things? How much it will be cost for you? Common, yeah, okay. What is the higher price you have paid for jeans? Around 30, good. Uh, 50, okay. Can we get higher prices or lower? 35, okay. I remember that I was in the United States, and I bought basically 7 pairs of jeans because it was quite cheap, and the average price was $20. And I bought this Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Levi's, Guess, brands like this. Now, do we have people from Russia? Or some Eastern Europe? Okay, Ekaterina. Now I'm asking from Ekaterina, how much the average cost of the jeans is in Russia? Is it more than here written or less? Cost of what? Cost of jeans. Okay, I have seen in my life that I will draw this kind of example from you. Of course, it was not this year or last year, and perhaps the situation has changed. But what I have figured out, the same brand. Let's take this Tommy Hilfiger. In United States, the jeans was cost $20. In Estonia, the same jeans were cost approximately 80 to 100 euros. And in Russia, when I was working, the same jeans cost minimum 150 euros. Why is that? Can you say me? Because okay, Estonia small market, and perhaps in small countries sometimes things are cost more than in big markets. But why Russia? In Russia, the same jeans are so much more high price than Estonia or in United States.
Um, hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I'm listening.
I'm not from Russia anyway, but I'm trying to look at it in this direction perspective. In the United States of America, jeans is seen as a regular wear, is common. They have the population, the manufacturers are there, the designs, I mean, the brand owners are there. But here in Russia, perhaps it is seen as a kind of as a status symbol. You know, when you wear a particular brand, perhaps it is seen as a, you know, something unique. So, and when it comes in that perspective, then a premium is meant to be paid on such product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically you're right. What I figured out, and I'm read about this, it's not my imagination or my findings only, that we can take the same product and we can see that one product or one specific apparel, whatever, it just don't be only jeans. It could be some kind of food or whatever things, cars. In one country, it would be the very everyday and very common product. Everybody can bought it. It's not very expensive, and everybody is using or wearing or owning like common things in their life. But in some other countries, these kind of things could be like way to or the sign of luxury. If you're wearing this or buying this, it means you are rich people. Let's take another view. In here in Estonia, in Russia, the vodka is very common alcohol. But if we take United States, the vodka is like sign of the luxury. You are fancy, you are rich, and you are like you know what you're drinking. The vodka is luxury drink, and the whiskey is for the drunkers. So it's not that one country people are poorer or richer, but the way how we like behaving these things are differently. Again, this is the like example. If we're talking about lifestyle, we have different meanings about what is luxury and what is the everyday common things. You need to understand, and you can earn lots of money. I like very much to eat caviar. I know that caviar in Russia is usually common things. It's not very expensive, and you can buy it whatever superstores you can find out. But in some countries, the caviar is sign of the luxury. You can buy it only in some specific food stores or only in restaurants. Again, the product is the same. The people are not poorer or richer, but the question is how we can get the meanings of the products. What else is added when we're talking about cultural factors? We can say that the colors of packages, the size or the style of the packages, or even the functions of the product is differently, and it depends on this kind of cultural like expectations and cultural meanings. Again, I will give some examples. In here in Estonia, we are used to we are used that the packages and the like not to say, yeah, the how the product looks like. It should be like mm, white and black, or even in the gray. So we don't like very much this kind of fancy colorized packages. And if you're looking at how the Estonian people are wearing clothes, yeah, the like joke is that Estonia's most favorite color of the clothes are gray or even dark. But if we go in the southern countries, in Asia or in Africa, we can see that people are wearing very colorful clothes. They very much like this kind of reds and pink and yellow colors, and it is based on how we can how our inside emotions and how the cultural traditions we using it, and we wearing and we living through these kind of such a things you can see very simply. This is examples which you can compare, and every people can see it, but inside of these lifestyles or cultural aspects, there are much more. So it doesn't help you very much if you just going to abroad and just like looking in simply how the people are living or behaving. You can make lots of mistakes if your opinion or your decision based on only what you can see in your eyes. To understood the people's meanings, their lifetimes, their values, their needs, their beliefs, you need to go deeper, and that's why people mostly try to use local experts when you're going to abroad. I have been visited more than 50 countries all over the world, but it doesn't matter, and it doesn't means that I'm expert of exportations, that I know very much. I don't know people in Russia or in Latvia or in Germany, where I've been most of the times when I visited some other countries. I only have seen the like main core and then some kind of aspect of the behavior of this kind of person. So to understand more, you need to go to deeper in the culture, and I would say that it's not enough that you have lived there or have visited the countries. Mm, to get the better result, you need to like hire local people who can understood mm, every time better the local people's behaviors and lifetimes than you can imagine in to be like foreigner. But it's only it's not 100% that you every time you need to go deeply to the locals lifestyle. We can see that there are lots of companies who selling the products not changing nothing, or they will change a little bit only. So it means that there are some products and services which is like in the main core or the main idea is international, and mostly we can see that these franchise companies, their business idea is based on these universations. They try to figure out what is the like universal needs or basic habits of people, uh, whatever places they live or whatever how they looks like, and if you can like build on this kind of product, you can sell it in every places, in every country, in every nation, in every based in every lifestyle, and you can see that some common needs and common habits are the same in every people all around the world, but it consists only some basic needs. That food, for instance, is basic needs, so you can build on some kind of food production or food this franchise company, perhaps some basic services as well, but lots and lots and lots of and most of the products or services or goods we need to like design for those countries where we would like to go. And the other option is that if you are so big company, like let's take an example for Apple, then everybody likes you. So then again, you perhaps don't need to go deep to these local specialities. You knew that everybody will buy your product because it's so fancy or so famous or so universal. And then again, perhaps you only changing some kind of manual language, and that's all. Apple doesn't do even this. You cannot find I don't know, Estonian language, for instance, from the Apple phone. But if we had these Nokia cell phones, usually they had the Estonian language as well. So the only big companies or universal services can allow themselves that they don't need to go to this deeply to this lifestyle habits. Now we can see some of the main factors which we can say that mainly is important if we talking about this kind of social cultural habits or lifestyles. And let's see what is this seven main cultural factors. It's not like in list of the importance, but I have put in here like I remembered it. So let's going through this. The first thing is material culture. This is mostly includes some kind of technological goods, which is used the majority of the population, like personal transport or some kind of resources and things like this. This kind of differences is smaller than the others because everybody is using cars, everybody is using electricity, everybody is using gas or telephone or internet. So companies who selling these kind of resources or these kind of services are in the best. They like problems are smaller than the others because mostly they don't need change very much. Uh, Perhaps only, I don't know, some small things. Okay, the cars perhaps is one of the most common things what the companies are changing. The facelift of the cars, even the brands of the cars, and perhaps colors and design as well. In Europe, we need to buy a smaller car because we have big cities and traffic jams every day. But in, I don't know, Northern America, where the people are living in countryside, distances between two cities are huge, hundreds of kilometers. Then you need to buy, or you can buy the bigger car, or the larger car, or the luxury car. But this is like only a couple of amounts of the differences. But main idea is that lots of things are common for all the population all over the world. Or they say that majority of the population are using these services in the same ways, not depending where you're living or what kind of beliefs you have. But perhaps the one of the main differences comes from cultural preferences. So we can say that in each markets we will have some preference for products, for foods, for quality, and the brands as well. We can add this kind of. Have you ever heard these kind of meanings like ethnocentrism? I guess that I'm written correctly. Oh, sorry. I put down it to Victoria. Ethnocentrism. Have you heard about this definition? Or can you describe what is the meaning of this ethnocentrism? Yeah, Anna says that looking at things through the lens of your own culture. The basic or simple meaning is that if people are like comparing their own lifestyle with some of the others, they basically thinking that their like way of living is much more better and the only the right comparing the others. And if we like Hannah says that looking the international life through our own culture, then it means that we have some special meanings and special understanding about the things and products as well. And we can say that in the world we have some specific ethnocentristic goods and services. Can you say what is the most ethnocentristic products all over the world? Perhaps you never will buy it if it's international.
I think it's language.
Yeah, language is like it's very important. But let's say that some things you buy, products mainly. What is the products you never will buy if it's not the local, or you try to avoid to buying this? Is it correct when I say it's food mainly? Or if we go deeply, then not all food we eating, but some specific, I don't know, breads or butters or milk or eggs or meat or something like this. Mostly people in every countries, they are used to buy and eat local food. It is not only going from ethnocentrism. It's like mostly going from the like conditions that if you are used to eat potatoes, then perhaps not every country will sell the potatoes, or even the doctor says that it is how to say, it is good for our health if we eat more local food than the international food. Yeah, Anna says that not really. You still buy food from foreign places. Yeah, of course, but let's take that you live in your home country, and then imagine that you go into supermarket and what kind of food you will buy. If it's possible, then you prefer local food from your home countries. And there are one specific things I would say that perhaps boys know much more is one of the very strictly ethnocentristic food is beer. In every countries have their own beer brands, lots of. I don't know how much they are in all over the world, perhaps tens of thousands, even more. But if you imagine how many international beer brands do you know? Perhaps 10. Carlsberg, Heineken, Tuborg, Guinness, I don't know, perhaps some more. Then very ethnocentristic good is cars. So if the country is car production, then the most selling car brand is local brand. In Sweden, most of the people are using Volvo. In Germany, people are using German cars. In I don't know, in Italy, lots of people are using Fiat cars. So it means that again, this is like ethnocentristic goods, and you need to understand if you're going to abroad that perhaps this or that product is not. It's hard to sell because the people are used to think some kind of things like ethnocentristic goods. They don't buy if it's international in some reasons. I don't know why. There is some example of the Fanta. It means that the Fanta is offering different flavors, and if you can see it, that let's take account that peach flavored in Botswana, and passion fruit in France, and flavored tastes like flowers in Japan. Why? Nobody knows, but it is like simple meanings. Third point is language. Okay, this is very simple. We can understood that the language is very important. What does it mean if we're talking about the cultural factors in internationalization is that the brand names, the marketing messages, the even the logos could be like sound, and they even had different meanings in different countries. Again, I can give hundreds of examples when we can see that the same brand name doesn't sounds very politely in different countries. That's why the companies changing their brand names if they go into abroad, because they understand that perhaps this name is too local, and even perhaps they don't means very politely in the neighbors as well, or the local language is pronounced. You cannot pronounce these kind of names. You need to put in simple forms that everybody can like fluently say out what is your brand. If you taking some kind of I don't know what country I would say, even Estonia. Have you tried to say? Can everybody had courage to say what I'm writing in here? Try to say
Jaar.
it. Okay. About this.
Kuuriad.
Okay. Yeah, if you take a time, perhaps it's not very hard to pronounce it. But if you need to say it different times, then perhaps it's getting strange. Estonian or Finnish names are sometimes very hard to pronounce, very hard. So that's why companies need to understand that you need to change something. Only, I don't know, perhaps companies in very big countries, sometimes they don't need to change something, but you need to understand that the meanings of your brands or your slogans sometimes sounds very strangely. Now the fourth point is education. Education is need to take it out only when you are looking for potential for workforce or something like this, or sometimes in the consumers like I don't know, understanding level as well. Perhaps I don't know, people are not so well educated, or they don't have imagination how to like use this kind of things or services. But it consists only I don't know, small amount on very specific part of the products or services. Religion. This is very important things. This is like one of the major cultural influencers. In some countries, it affects every part of the life. Not only just we need to know where the, I don't know, some kind of vacation days, or I don't know, some kind of specific, I don't know, events consisting this religion, but even including the role of woman or society, or role of foods, or beverage consumption, or clothing habits. I don't know what else. When I first time visited Dubai, then I was uh, I prepared specifically, especially because I was quite young. I was not married with my today's wife, and when we was going together with Dubai, we was prepared that perhaps we need to, I don't know, somehow like prove that we are couple, not just two two separate peoples. And I remember that the first day of Dubai, we had need to go to the superstores and we bought absolutely new garderobe for my wife, because the clothes she's wearing was not like acceptable in Dubai. We don't had any imagination what was expected for. Okay, today I was visited Dubai last time 2 years ago. The things have changed a little bit, but again, the cultural differences based on religion was huge comparing Estonia and Arabia. And I would say that these like region factors are one of the most mistakes the companies can do. Lots of very strange, not politely, and even frightening mistakes people companies have done it. So need to be very careful, because religion for some countries are so important that it rules, like I said, every aspect of the life. Then 6 point is ethics and values. It is came from the religion, but not only. So it means that what is important aspects of the consumers, or how we can like see the aspects what the consumers are thinking important from them. Some of the countries are the, I don't know, not primitive, but the values which is not very modern comparing your home countries. Or the otherwise, the people from your country are used to think things a little bit differently than your neighbors. So again, all these kind of ethical aspects or ethical components you need to figure it out. Otherwise, you can find that face of and quite big problems. And the social life, this is the seventh factor. It consists the family groups or social relations. Even that in some countries, the tribes or the families are much more important than the official rules and official ties between the peoples. It is very closely connected with the everyday life, how the people are, I don't know, making decisions, and who is the like, if you're taking some kind of business relations, then you need to know that who is the decision maker, how to get you closer to your customers, to your potential partners, business partners, and consumers. So there are again lots of different things. In summary, this is like only 7 factors. Inside of them are lots of different small detailized aspects you need to know. But basically, we can say that these kind of cultural factors are main part of the going global and taking account the similarity or difference between your countries and your choose export-based countries. In next time when we will discussing about this what was this article name? Yeah, this influences of socio-economical factors and influence of cultural differences. Then we perhaps again going a little bit details and going deeply with these themes and these problems. But now we can like summarize that sometimes these cultural aspects and problems are much more risky than the usual economical drivers or something like this. So we need to take account that the countries are very differently, and not only different a bit because one of these are bigger and then the other smaller, but it is important because the people are living there is behaving, acting, and expecting things very differently. Okay, guys, because I'm, like I said, I'm not sitting in very comfortable place in this restaurant. They started to close it. I need to finish for the day. To have some final questions or remarks or comments. If not, then I will finish for today. We will meet through the Zoom in next Wednesday in 5 o'clock, and then we go on with these articles and go on with the discussion about social and cultural behavior and aspects. Don't worry if you had not get feedback from your home readings. I will do it as well as soon as I get the possibility. And for next week, there are no additional articles, only these lecture and seminars number 3, these influences of socio-economical factors and the influence of the cultural differences. So those 2 articles is for the next time. If you have done it for today, very good. If not, then you have time to prepare it, and we will discuss it in next time. And that's all for me. If you have questions, you can write me. If not, then we'll be seeing next week. Okay. Thank you.